If you're looking for all the answers, I still don't have them. But what I do have is a particular set of skills. Skills I've acquired over a very long career. Skills that make me a nightmare for people who mislead, misinform, or misrepresent the sports card industry. So if you don't do that, I'll let it go. But if you do, I'm going to talk about you. I'm going to talk a little bit about you today. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Sports Card Investigator. My name is Andy. I am the aforementioned Sports Card Investigator, and today I have a special episode. I am going to bring on a special guest. I was watching another video, and it completely threw me for a curveball when one of the content creators was saying that a certain player may have been responsible in some way for the softening of the market because he did not live up to the hype and expectations. And I had to second guess myself because I'm still pretty high on this guy. He's a rookie from not this year's class, but the year before. And I ran it by my good friend Jordan from Sports Card Analytics, who now does By the Numbers, because I wanted to take a really deep dive into this and really to see if I am just missing something. So I won't say it, without delay, let me bring on my very good friend, Jordan. Jordan, how are you today?
Well, it's Thursday, so I got another day of work, so I'm not doing too great. But I'll make it. I'll live. And you're talking about a player that dropped the market by himself. That's a lot of weight for one guy.
And he is a load if you listen to some people. And I heard it and I brought it up to you, and I think you had the same reaction that I did. But this player who has not met expectations and he's responsible for the softening of the market, is none other than Zion Williamson. And I find that really hard to believe because all the stuff that I've looked at, I've read, I've talked to, the uneducated way that I look at stats compared to someone like you, Jordan, I don't see it. So would you explain to me and our audience what you found out?
Well, first, I thought you were talking about Taco Fall, because I'm sure his prices have dropped almost like 99%. You know, they went from $1 to a penny.
I think
so
you're right.
probably really hurt the market. But Zion, I did my own by the numbers, took notes, got them here for Andy's Sports Card Investigator show. And I'm just going to basically talk about what I'm seeing and, how could this guy actually be dropping the market by himself. In high school, he was 6'6". He weighed 255 pounds.
Wow.
In high school. So he was already kind of a load. But when he got to college, he gained 30 pounds and grew an inch. So it's safe to say that he's always been heavy. I didn't know he was heavy enough to drop the market, but
right.
But looking at the numbers, I want to talk about his weight because everyone's worried about his weight at first. So if you got a guy who was 255 pounds when he was 16, 17, and then 18 and 19 in college, he's 285 pounds. You could say he's used to that weight. And he's always looked to be in shape. So you can make the conclusion that it's all muscle. He's not carrying that much fat on him. So he's not out of shape. So the injury concern that comes with him, I know there's not analytics for it, but the college injury where his foot went through his shoe was a freak accident. And then I know he got hurt in preseason. So he missed some time. But overall, he hasn't had like major injuries that would say that he hasn't lived up to his hype, unless we don't know what his hype was. So I've started my by the numbers BUY, by the numbers, which is actually Andy's suggestion. I just changed one letter. So that was just one text message. I was thinking about it all night long. Like, what am I going to name this show? And I just couldn't figure it out. And you're just like, by the numbers. I'm like, okay, well, I'll take that. First suggestion. But I'm gonna compare Zion second year to LeBron James second year.
Well, there won't be any comparison, Jordan. I don't know why you're going through this, but go ahead, whatever.
Because LeBron and Zion, you could say they have pretty much the same amount of hype from high school. LeBron didn't go to college, but the same hype from high school. The only other player I could think of that had that kind of high school hype was Andrew Wiggins, and he didn't live up to it. I mean, he's still playing. Maybe he goes on and wins 7 championships. But take a look at his numbers, Zion compared to LeBron James. You would say Zion has played well this past year. But when I took a look at the numbers, you have Zion, who played 33 minutes a game in year 2, and LeBron played almost 43 minutes a game in year 2. They were both 20 years old in year 2. I know LeBron was a year younger because he came from high school, but they were both 20 in year 2. So I think it's a good comparison. Even though LeBron played more minutes, Zion was being restricted a little bit. But numbers-wise, just looking at that, even though LeBron played 10 more minutes a game, they both scored about the same, 27 points a game. So they're both even there. Zion gets more rebounds, whereas LeBron gets more assists because he's just a better passer. So I wanted to look at the percentages. So if you take people's numbers, their minutes, and you just look at their straight up box score, you would hope that the guy with the more minutes has the higher numbers. So you want to take a look at their percentages of what they were doing. Because even if someone plays 1 minute, they could have, different the same percentage as someone who played 48 minutes. Just a way to look at it.
Sure.
So, Zion's efficiency is insane for a guy in year 2 playing in the NBA, the most physical league in the world. So Zion's scored 2-point shots at 63% rate, whereas LeBron scored about 50% on 2-point shots. So you could say Zion scored, over 10% more than LeBron did for his 27 points in less minutes. His true shooting percentage was almost 10% higher as well. And that's, taking into account free throws and 3-point shooting. They're both about the same rebound rate percentage wise, about 10% of the time. Rebounds that they should get, they pull them in. And one thing I was really curious about with Zion, if you're comparing him to LeBron, is can he be an elite passer? Because Zion's assist rate percentage was 20% of the time, whereas LeBron was 33%. So in high school and college and his first year, Zion had 3 assists a game. So you would think in high school he's playing with smaller guys.
Inferior players.
Right. And he shot 85% in high school, which I thought was
85%. No one's perfect, I guess, but that's pretty good.
Right. So that's where he got all his height from, shooting 85%. So he got 3 assists a game. This past year, he got 4 assists. And his assist rate in high school was about the same where he is now. So he's getting a little bit better as a passer. His assists are going up, but that's probably due to his minutes going up. So I can't see Zion becoming an elite passer like LeBron was. But scoring wise and rebounding wise, Zion is slightly better, or 10% better than LeBron was in year 2, which is a big accusation. Like that's LeBron James.
Incredible, yeah.
So to say underperformed, I don't know where they're getting that from. I don't know what game they watched. Maybe he was sitting out that game.
Yeah, I don't know, and I want you to and we'll talk about this a little bit because it's something that we always talk about, is sometimes when a player comes in with all the hype, especially in the last year and a half when the market did what the market did, they're priced already as if they've accomplished things that they have not accomplished. And there's nowhere to go except down, right? Especially when things settle the way they settled. So I don't know what else would be expected of him as far as playing goes.
Well, I got more numbers for you.
Bring them on.
I got more numbers for you. So there's a stat out there called win shares. The estimated wins a player gets their team.
Great.
So you can kind of value a player. And Zion this past year was 10th in the league, 8.7 win shares. So you got to look at LeBron in year two. How important was he to his team, which you can assume he was very important. Mm-hmm. His win shares 14.3. He was fourth in the league. Mm-hmm. So yeah, even though you're looking at the numbers and the percentages, you're saying they're even. They're both top 10 for their years. And LeBron hadn't made the playoffs yet either in year two or year one. So I guess expectation wise, whoever said that was expecting Zion to win a championship by now.
Yeah. Or
an MVP. I don't know. All right. I guess at least make the playoffs. They were just looking at that. I'm not sure. But there another advanced stat is it's kind of like WAR for baseball, wins above replacement. Mm-hmm. And this is the value above replacement player, and Zion was 10th in the league in that, whereas LeBron was number 1 in the league. So LeBron, you could say, was more valuable to his team in year two, where Zion's probably the most valuable on his team, but league wise, you can't say, that guy is the most valuable to his team, but he still contributed. He did really well.
Sure.
So I wanted to even the playing field a little bit more, looking at these advanced stats. And the way to do that, if someone's watching this and they want to look up a player and kind of learn about them, and you want to compare them, you can look at per 36 minutes and per 100 possessions. That's there on Basketball Reference and Sports Reference.com for you. And it's a really easy comparison, especially when the minutes discrepancy is pretty high. So per 36 minutes, Zion's about 30 points a game. And this is just not looking at the percentages anymore. This is looking at a basic box score.
Strictly box score, right.
Right. So defensive wise, I'm not going to go there. LeBron got more steals. Zion gets more blocks. That's, it doesn't matter the metric.
Right.
But Zion scores more than LeBron. LeBron gets 6 assists per 36, whereas Zion got 4. So because Zion played almost 36 minutes, and Zion gets more rebounds. That's 7.8 versus LeBron's 6.2. So he's a better scorer and a slightly better rebounder. Not as great as a passer, which we won't expect him to be a great passer, which is fine. Not everyone has to be that kind of player for their team. So per 100 possessions, Zion's almost 40 points a game, whereas LeBron was 34. So still better scorer. LeBron 9 assists and 9 rebounds, and Zion was 5 assists and 11 rebounds. So to say Zion hasn't lived up to expectations, it's easy to say now, looking at the numbers. Zion is very efficient. He's lived up to his hype. He's definitely lived up to my expectations. I don't know what your expectations were from him.
He's surpassed the expectations. And the thing is with him is he came in with such hype, like we talked about. And it's like, if the only thing he could have done is make the playoffs or made a championship run. But as far as his play on the court, I don't know what else you could have asked for.
Right. So he numbers say Zion is a great player, and because guys develop, he's 20 years old. To look at these numbers and say he can get better, the answer is yes. Yes, he's going to get better. And injury concern is there, but it's also there for every player. Someone could have a freak accident. You think of Paul George, and he was doing great, and he had that freak injury where he broke his leg. But that could happen to anyone, really.
Yeah.
So you can't be afraid of injury concern just because of the guy's weight. I would say he's used to the weight, and the Pelicans are very aware of his weight, and they're trying to build a team around him that suits him and his playing style. So it'll be interesting to see what they do this offseason.
That's the other thing that we have to look at. And I've already started looking at what are they going to do? First, they need a coach, and if they need a good coach that is going to be able to lead the team, and I think they're hopefully they're going to pick someone that will be a great fit. And some of the rumors as far as trades now are they were looking at Porzingis. I don't think that's going to happen from what I'm looking at. We talked a little bit before, a guy like Maxi Kleber. He could stretch the floor. He's a 40% three-point shooter. He's a good defender. He's actually defended Zion in the past. That might be a guy that they need. I mean, they just need a complementary player that would let Zion be more free when he's on the court, I guess would be a good word for it. Would they go after a guy like Lillard or McCollum? I guess they could. They do. I think they have the money. But I think they're going to have to do something to make that team at least contend, because his extension is going to come up soon, and it's going to be, there's already grumblings that he doesn't like it in New Orleans, or his family doesn't. So I think it's going to be a very interesting off season.
Yeah, and I've been reading a book. It's strictly called Basketball Analytics, and they've made their own numbers and stats and formulas, trying to understand the league and how teams are built and how successful teams are built. And something they learned through analytics was that the more unbalanced an offense is, the better the team does. And that would say that, you got guys like LeBron scoring a lot. If LeBron's on a team, they're going to be successful. So you look at Zion, you look at how efficient he is,
right?
And then you look at the Pelicans, and you think, how are they going to build around him? Are they going to go the Orlando Magic route, building around Dwight Howard?
Yeah.
Just put shooters around him, or are they going to try to get another superstar to play with him? And the numbers say you want the most superstars you can have to fit in the salary, and then you build around those guys. So with his efficient scoring, I think it would be really good, and it's something we have to watch. If the Pelicans can bring in an efficient scorer like a Bradley Beal or a Dame Lillard, and I think that would really help Zion. People would probably freak out if a guy like that came in, and you're like, oh, he's going to dominate the ball. Zion's numbers are going to go down. His numbers might go down, but I think he'd be more efficient, and they would become a better team. And then you're living up to people's expectations if their expectations was a championship in the first few years.
No, I agree. Now let's talk a little bit about his cards. I mean, we talked a little bit about, or I did, and I know we discussed it as far as the kind of cards that we'll look at in the future with guys. And I think a guy like Zion, are you still keeping to the numbered cards or the lower pop cards?
Well, I think I said in my last episode, I guess the first episode of By the Numbers, I mentioned the junk slab era. I said it just straight up junk slab era. I don't know if other content creators are calling it that, but I think we're in the junk slab era. I think that the 2018, 2019 season, where PSA's prices were lower, so many people were sending off cards to get graded, and they're still there. They're stuck grading them. That those 2 years are the junk slab era. The cards after that, base cards, it's still up for a debate because the prices went up. So you're not going to see as many LaMelo balls and stuff like that. So with that said, yes, for 2018, 2019 players like Zion, you want to stick to the parallels and the numbered cards where the print run, or the print run is low. So that's my strategy right now in this current environment.
You want to take a look at a couple for fun?
Let's do it.
All right. So this is his purple PSA 10. What I did was I just brought it for the last 3 months. Now his population on this is 310. The current price is $380. Average price 448 and a high price of 607. So it's only a population of 310. The problem is, or not the problem, we just don't know what the print run is on these cards and how many are sitting at PSA.
Right. Can you go back a year?
Yeah.
I'd like to see where it was in December and how much it's dropped. Because you could say December when the NBA season was starting. How are people valuing this card, and how are they valuing it now?
So about December 21st, it was about 550, and now it's 380.
380. So we're looking at a little over a half. But if I were buying Zion, this would be the type of card I would look for. The 300 is a little iffy because you don't know how many are out there.
Exactly.
But you can be more confident with the junk slab era. That's the positive part of the junk slab era, is that whoever had this card and they felt it looked good, they sent it to PSA. So the majority of that population should be filled out for Zion cards.
Yeah,
it's not like the price was too high and they were scared to send them. So I would be confident with a 300 pop report.
This is the Purple Shock, and it's a pop of only 61. Again, we don't know, but it reached a high of 1,100, and back in December it was 640, and now it's 580. So it really hasn't dropped that much. It did get all the way up. It reached as high and was one sale in March, and then it looks like it's moving up a little bit, but pop 61.
Right. And for any card that you see just one giant spike, especially for a short print,
right?
I would just assume, that's one sale and that was one person willing to pay that price. I wouldn't go buying that card, hoping it's going to get to that one sale. If you have a card that has a population of 16,000 and it spikes like that, then you're going to hope that it's multiple sales, and you're going to hope the card gets back up to something like that, which I'm not sure with 16,000. But yeah, I wouldn't put too much stock in one sale.
We'll take a look at another cool card. Is Net Marvel's card. These cards, this isn't raw, but his PSA 10 has a population of 56. That card was the highest $3,200 for a PSA 10, currently at $2,349. And these cards, Jordan, you can attest, they are a hard grade.
Well, the thing that shocks me is these were very high print. They did not short print the Net Marvels base back in 2019. I did a break with the Milwaukee Bucks to just get some some Giannis Net Marvels, and I ended up with after a full case of hobby boxes that were open, I had about 10 Giannis Net Marvels. So there's a lot of them out there. The ones you want to look for are the press proof. Those are the shorter print. I think they have gold lettering, and then there's a black 1 of 1. But to see a 56 population at PSA 10 definitely shows that these are difficult grade. And if you have one just sitting around and it looks like a 10, I would try to send it in whenever prices are reasonable.
That's the other thing we have to wait on too, is when prices come back, or not when prices come back, but when PSA comes back. Let's see.
Right, and nobody knows.
Nope.
The potential pricing, or if there's going to be bulk grading anymore. But I try to think of them just from a business perspective. They have to like having a backlog. They have to like having so many cards to grade every day, because that's, they're making money. I'm sure the employees hate it because they have to grade so many every day, but I can't see them making a price to where it's going to scare people off to go to their competitors. It's got to be the right price to where people are okay with sending in not just random base cards of, Bol Bol or Taco Fall, but enough to where they send in base cards of, top tier rookies or the higher mid tier rookies.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing we were talking about too, which was kind of funny, is I think Panini will keep the population of PSA 10s down just because the quality of control of these cards I've never seen anything like it. I mean, every time I see a break of a guy pulling a great card, the centering, and that's the only thing you could tell, obviously, is it's just horrific. I never saw anything like it. So
yeah, it's bad. And I think competitors like Topps and their quality control really help or will help push Panini a little bit, because I've been looking at some Topps cards lately for just baseball players, and I've said like, wow, like this card looks really good, like centering, and it's over and over again. I keep like, wow, Topps is doing a really good job with their products. The on-card autos look great. Like it's not like Panini just allowing Cam Reddish to do an auto where it's just a line. Like I guess Topps pushes these guys to do their best autograph, because I see some really good on-card autos with Topps, and hopefully Panini will follow suit eventually. And that's also up to us, the consumer. Like, are we going to keep buying it? Like, if we keep buying this terrible quality product, they're going to keep either letting it be worse or just keep raising the prices. And if we keep buying it, then they're going to keep doing it. So it's really up to us as a consumer to take a stand at some point.
It is, and if you think about it, the quality control on something like that should not be a concern. The card should come out. I mean, I know you're going to probably have like an error every once in a while, but some of the centering is, you don't even know, like, is it an adjustment on a machine or whatever? I just can't understand why. Is it a non-caring thing, or but Topps does it right, and Panini, for whatever reason, maybe they're just kicking out so many cards they don't adjust them. I don't know how it works, but I just thought that was, this year especially, I've noticed. Before we wrap this up, one of the things that I get a lot of questions about, and it's not as easy as it sounds. It's like, well, people aren't going to grade base anymore, and I changed my strategy, and we've talked about that, and I talked about that on the show. But do you think, because of the way the prices of grading is going to be in the future, that it'll just be, obviously, a population will have to come down on not a base card of a rookie who may or may not be like a LaMelo Ball base card, because he just, people are not going to want to spend maybe $100 or $50 on a base grade.
Right, and I think it's going to be a cycle that we're going to see over time. So we had low grading prices. Everyone's sending all their base cards or whatever they could just to get the value of the card to go up, because it made sense. It was a smart strategy. So now you have even CSGs raising their prices. Everyone's raising their prices. So it's going to happen for a while. The prices are going to be raised, but eventually it's going to get to the point where consumers say, okay, that enough is enough. I'm not sending you my cards anymore. And they're going to have to lower prices. And I think when that happens, you're going to see the cycle happen again. Because even, guys like me, if I see PSA prices go down to where it makes sense to send in base cards, like if I have a $2 base card of a rookie and their price is back down to $25, and I see PSA 10s selling for $150 and PSA 9s selling for $80, that makes sense to me. I'm going to send them in, and then their prices are going to go up. It's going to be a cycle, and it's going to be a long process. But for right now, this year, with guys like LaMelo, I think pop counts are going to be low for base cards. But I wouldn't buy them just because of the pop count, because they could shoot up at any time. So
right, and I think you're going to see that the thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of cards at PSA that are starting to come back. I was on a Twitter or Discord, and I didn't verify it, but I thought it was interesting that people are canceling their orders at PSA, and PSA, I didn't, again, this is not verified, but it was interesting if it's true, is charging people. If you want to cancel, that's fine, but you have to pay to cancel. So I thought that's going to be interesting how that plays out. But
so they were just asking for their cards back,
right? Like if you have whatever it is, 100 cards in there for you got them in for the last the $15 before the prices went up, and someone looks and says, well, maybe those 100 cards are come back. They're not going to get what I thought they were going to get because it's just they're not. It's not a year and a half ago. I'll just cancel the order, sell them raw, get rid of them, or do whatever I want with them. So instead of obviously having PSA to send them back, you're going to have to pay for that. But a charge, I couldn't verify it, but I thought it would be interesting if they end up doing that. There's a lot of people that probably want their cards back.
Yeah, I can't speak too much on that. It depends on how much someone spent on it. If I would want it in the slab, even if the value of the card has dropped over 6 months and it still hasn't gone in the research, if you get your cards back, the value's already dropped. Oh well, you might as well get it in a slab. So, I can't speak too much on that rumor.
No, I thought it was interesting that if that would be the case, because that's been a big conversation. A lot of people are like, getting the cards. I saw one, I think it was on Twitter or what. I think that there's like, post your worst card. When you get it back from PSA, the card that you would be like, that's second. Hindsight's always 20/20. But I appreciate it. I thought this was fun. I'm glad to get you finally on. It's been a year since we were talking about this, maybe longer. I don't know.
Yeah, since we started our channels, we've been talking about doing a collab for, I would say 12 months, 13 months. So
make sure you guys check out Jordan's channel, Sports Card Analytics, but by the numbers. He's going to be putting out players on probably a weekly basis that you're going to just take a deep dive into.
I'm gonna start out with players that I think are good guys to look into the numbers, but eventually I'm going to take comments and ask people if they want me to look into certain players. Even like a conversation like this, if someone is interested in me comparing Zion to a guy like Luka, and you want me to, me and Andy, we can dive into that as well. Put it in the comments, and we'll do another episode and talk about it. And I guess this is a good transition for me to shout out a friend of mine that I've made. His name is Breakout Cards. We're talking about starting a podcast soon. So just an analytics-based podcast. So look out for that as well.
That'll be great. We'll put the link in the notes. And I mean, it just goes to show, and I'm glad, because I look at research, I talk to people, I read a lot of, just what's going on with the players. I'll look at Basketball Reference, but when I want a deep dive to figure out maybe that missing link is where Jordan's analytics expertise comes into play. So with that, Jordan, I really appreciate it. I had a great time. I look forward to the next time we do. And you do. I'm a one-trick pony. I do rookie basketball, but you're going to do baseball, football. I think you're going to dive into all that stuff, right?
Yeah, I actually bought some analytics books for basketball, football, baseball, golf, and MMA, so I can learn all the formulas that go into all those stats, and even formulas that we've never heard of that make sense, and dive into those type of sports and those players, and just expand my horizons.
That's awesome. So, Jordan, thank you so very much. We will talk soon. And for everyone else, thanks for joining us, and take care.
Thanks, Andy.